standing room only crowd. I'd like to reconvene at 6:05, and may I please have you stand, and Miranda Lopez for the flag salute.
Put your right hand over your heart. Ready? Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Well done, thank you.
Yes. Nice voice. Sorry.
This is yours, right?
Yes, that's
We all have one.
no, that's mine. Right here. Sorry. Oh, and I lost my page. Okay. Reporting out, we have a decision following an expulsion hearing, a fact-finding hearing conducted by administrative review in case number 17-18/08, motion by Board Member Rose Hurst and seconded by Board Member Tim Bazar. It is moved that the Board of Education find there is cause to expel student number 23958, EC 48915B, possession of any knife, explosive, or other dangerous object of no reasonable use to the pupil at school or at a school activity off school grounds. The panel recommendation is that student number 23958 shall be expelled from the schools of the district for the remainder of the spring semester of the 2017-2018 school year and fall semester of the 2018-2019 school year. It is further recommended that student number 23958 may apply to re-enroll at Earlo Middle School at the beginning of the spring semester of 2018-2019 school year. And it was passed by a 5-0 vote. Thank you. I got the right pages. I lost my page. There it is. If I got the right one. Yeah, there we go. Public communications, agenda and non-agenda items. Any person wishing to comment on agenda and non-agenda items may do so. Please step to the podium and state your name. It would be appreciated if you would limit your comments to 3 minutes. California law prohibits the school board from taking action on any matter which is not on the posted agenda unless it is determined to be an emergency by the school board. Per board policy BB 9323, individual speakers may be allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each agenda or non-agenda item. The board may limit the total time for public input on each item to 20 minutes. With board consent, the president may increase or decrease the time allowed for public presentation depending on the topic and the number of persons wishing to be heard. The president may take a poll of speakers for or against a particular issue and may ask that additional persons speak only if they have something new to add. Do I have anyone that would like to address the board? No? Thank you. Okay, approval of agenda.
I'll move that we approve the agenda.
I second it. Mr. Bazar?
Aye.
Mrs. Hurst? Aye. Mr. Snodderly?
Aye.
Mr. Wallace?
Aye.
And Mrs. Conforti votes aye. Passed 5-0. Information discussion items. Recognition of elementary students who have been reclassified fluent English proficient. May I please have Mrs. Robles come up and students, please listen to your name and then come up and line up here and board members. Mr. Snodderly, would you like to say
Principal of Farm Services. And I will also, my name is Linda Rodas, and I'm principal of Penn Elementary for this year.
I think so.
Yes.
testing? Perfect. Okay. Let me start over. My name is Lupe Robles, and I'm the current principal of Hunt Elementary. Next year I will be at Barrington Elementary. It is my honor to represent to you the students that have been reclassified as English proficiency. Es mi placer hoy, soy la directora Robles de la escuela de Hunt y el año que viene voy a ser la directora de la escuela de Barrington. Es mi placer de presentarles a los niños que han dominado el idioma de inglés. Tenemos 27 niños. We have 27 students who have been currently reclassified. That is a great accomplishment, so let's everybody give them a nice. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go here and read the names, and I have Mrs. Vargas here, who is Von Renner's, I was going to say president, principal. And she's going to help me out. When you hear your name coming up, we're going to shake your hands, and then I want you guys to walk through, shake the hands of the board members, and then we need you to stand up straight, and so then we can get a picture for the newspaper. Sounds good? Yes? All righty. Okay, first one, America Aguilera. Come on up. Aiden Ceja Moreno, come on up. Adrian Hernandez. Anthony Tovar. Eileen Castro, coming up. Maybe I mispronounced her name, Aylin. Okay, just to make sure. Amaris Diaz, come on up. Congratulations. Ariel Medina. Brandon Diaz. Christopher Hernandez. Daniel Franco Rodriguez. Emmanuel Reynoso. Isis Anaya. Cassandra Rangel. Diana Rodas Vargas. Francisco Hernández Granados. Jesús Ángel González. Joana Esquives. Julieta Martínez Hernández. Jesús Navarro. Congratulations. Garcia. Jesse Gomez. Jacqueline Moreno Barrientos.
Jonathan. Congratulations.
Jonathan Partidos Gomez.
Congratulations.
Caitlin Casillas.
Congratulations.
Camila Gonzalez.
Congratulations.
Mayeli Garcia. Chantal Wylet Pizarro.
Congratulations.
Luis Ángel Cervantes. Miranda López Carrillo. What a great accomplishment. Let's give another one. Parents, feel free to stand up and take pictures. Okay, párense para tomar la foto si necesitan. We have someone that just showed up, Adrian Hernandez.
Hello, Adrian.
Look where the cameras are. Okay, squeeze it in, squeeze it in, squeeze it in, please. Squeeze it in, sideways, sideways. Here we go. Let me see it. Okay. Okay, got it?
All right, everybody, right here, please.
A little bit more parents get their pictures.
Look at your mirror.
They are more than welcome to stay, but it is time to go.
Okay, congratulations. Parents, you are more than welcome to go. I know that your students have homework. Padres, ya se pueden ir. Ya sé que los niños tienen tarea, otras obligaciones. Si gustan, se pueden quedar o se pueden ir ahorita. ¿Ok? Thank you, students and parents. That's for Nancy, please. We have a lot of blank seat, you can come forward. Instead of standing.
Instead of some new I really don't.
We don't bite. Mr. Philpott, would you like to speak about national history?
Well, I could, but I think I'm going to have to let
Mrs. Betancourt
actually start off.
Good evening. I'm going to talk a little bit about the elementary National History Day competition, and Mr. Pruitt will come up and talk about the secondary. We had groups they first decide they're going to participate, and then they compete in a local competition in Patterson with other districts in our county. And after that, if they win there, they get to go to state. So the kids we have here tonight, the students we have here tonight, actually competed in the state competition. So I'm going to introduce Annika Dite. And tell a little bit about yourself. Your grade level and everything.
Okay. I'm in 5th grade and I go to Veneta Elementary.
Yeah, I'm right here. And this is Diana. Introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Diana and I'm in 5th grade at Veneta.
So I think both of these girls have participated the last 2 years in National History Day.
No, this is first. Yeah.
First year? Oh, this is their first year at National History Day, and they went all the way to state. Wow. So they're, their project is right. It's kind of hard. I'll hold it up. But I'm going to let each of the girls just talk a little bit about their project very quickly, and then why they'd like to participate in National History Day. I think the competition was a couple weeks ago, and they did a great job at the state. They didn't win first, but they made a very good showing, and we were very proud of them. So, why don't you guys talk about that?
Well, it was a good experience and I hope to do it again next year. It was pretty fun, but hardworking and yeah, it was fun, it was hard, but we still got it. National History Day was a really good experience. We really liked it, and we really were hoping that we would make it to the county one, and we really were hoping that we would make it to the state one. And we really were hoping we could get first, but we didn't. But that's okay. And we chose our topic because we both like government and stuff like that, and presidents and stuff, and law and order.
I did forget to add, they actually compete at their site level too. Before they make it, the sites do their own little competition, and then they go to the county and then to the state. So these girls have been working on this for a good chunk of this school year. So just wanted to make sure that we recognize their hard work this year.
Girls, you're winners no matter what, but the idea to get and do that and go as far as the state is really an accomplishment for us, especially on your first try. But well done.
Yes, well done.
Yes. Mr. Pruitt?
Thank you. It's always an honor to talk about some of the things our students get to do outside of the classroom. And we have 4 students tonight. But to not introduce our teacher that has kind of led the way on National History Day at Orstemba, I believe this is your 4th or 5th year doing this? 4th year doing National History Day, and she's been able to get teams to the state level, and this group of young men did a phenomenal job as well. So our person that leads our History Day at Orstemba High School is Javita Blankenship.
Yes.
Okay.
kind of explain why National History Day works. And it's because by participating in this program, students become writers, filmmakers, web designers, playwrights, and artists as they create unique contemporary expressions of history. Students learn critical thinking, problem-solving skills, research and reading skills, self-esteem, and confidence. And I'm so proud that this is my 4th year, and each year we have taken groups to state. This year we had 2 teams. One was an individual website, Madison Corral. And then we had a very personable team that was recognized everywhere they went with the group exhibit. And that's Spencer Lanack, Robert and Zachary Garcia, and Miguel Vasquez. So I'd like to give them an opportunity to speak of what they got out of the project.
Should I say what my project was? Okay, so I did a website, an individual website, like she said earlier, on the Treaty of Versailles leading to World War II, because the theme was conflict and compromise. And I think I mainly learned more interviewing. I gained interviewing skills through the process because we had an interview at county and then also at state. That's it.
Hello, I'm Spencer, and I got the idea for Jackie Robinson because I'm a big Dodgers fan, and it was right about this time, right before my team choked in the playoffs. I had Jackie Robinson fresh on my mind because they always talk about him on the broadcast, and I don't know. I thought it would be really cool to learn a little more about him because they're surprisingly the stuff that I hadn't already known. And it was a really fun experience, especially working with other people, because I originally was going to do it by myself, and they decided to tag along. And I think it made it a lot better.
My name's Robert Garcia, and this project and this NHD theme, it was fun. I got to work with a lot of my friends. We first chose the 1989 Battle of the Bay earthquake, but it didn't really fit the theme. And so we saw Spencer's idea, and we were like, oh, we'll join that one. Yeah, it worked out pretty well. We got to state, and it was a fun experience. I got to learn more about Jackie Robinson, not only within the MLB, but his work outside the MLB, within the civil rights movement, and overall it was a fun experience, and I'll be really excited to do it next year. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Miguel, and I don't know a bunch about Jack Robinson. I had no idea who he was, honestly, until Spencer told me all about it. But I think it's a really good experience. I think everyone has the opportunity to do it should do it. You have a lot of fun, and doing it with all your friends is awesome. And I'm still not good at it, but talking in front of everyone is it's a little hard, so you get a lot better at it throughout the process. So thank you. Can't wait for next year.
Thank you.
I'm Zachary. One thing that I got from doing this was on our way to a state, I asked Ms. Beat why did she do this, and she told me that her hope is to get us to help others and do what she did to us, and pass on the giving help a hand, and that's what I want to do and help people. Because she helped us, took her time out of her day to take us, and yeah.
Did you wear the uniforms at every...
Yes.
That's a good... And I don't know, but a lot of people don't think sports are historic. And I would imagine that
everything about Jackie Robinson is historic, not only
Yeah.
just his baseball playing, but his outside life.
Yes.
And it encourages others.
He paved the way for like not only African Americans but like many other races for the MLB, and it played a major part in the civil rights movement. Yeah.
Thank you. And you made us proud, all of the students, to represent Newman. Not only did you make it through school, through the, Patterson, the county, and all the way up to the state, just that ability is fantastic. Thank you for doing that for our district. Thank you.
It was a pleasure.
Mr. Pruitt?
Do you have this? Yeah, that's what we're looking for right now.
Okay. Before the graphic is pulled up, I do want to, we found out something today. We have a student we had two students actually that were running for the top in the state for Microsoft certification, and one student made it. So we have a student that will now go to a national competition in June, and her name is Andrea Lopez, and she will be going to Georgia on June 14th and 15th to compete on the national level. So one other thing that just, So we just got the news today. So right now we're going to be talking about Occupational Olympics, but before that, Occupational Olympics is kind of the conclusion of our CTE pathways. And what I wanted to show you was this graphic. Mr. Philpott was the principal at Orristimba 5 years ago, so this graphic represents 5 years at Orristimba, and the electives that were offered in the career technical education pathways. And if you look at the color there, the ones in green are the classes that. Actually, there should be something a little bit lower too, right? I don't know if you can shrink it to fit or. So the ones that are in green are the classes that existed when Mr. Philpott and I both were at Orristimba High School 5 years ago. But if you look at the ones, all the other colors, those are the electives that we've added in the last 5 years. So if you look at the change that's happening at Orristimba, we really are not just doing the core classes, which are a vital part of their education, but we're looking at things that get them college and career ready. So even though they start out with, a lot of people think this is career only, but these things will give them a head start actually in college as well in those pathways. So it's not just about going into the workforce after, and it's not just about going to college after. It's about giving them some viable skills that will actually maybe even get them a part-time job while they're in college. So these are the pathways. The state of California says you have to have so many hours in a pathway to get the certification, and it helps us with our California dashboard as well as being college and career ready. But if you look at it, we had I don't know that there were any pathways 5 years ago. And the pathways were through ROP before, that transitioned to CTE. But we had classes, but no full pathways. And now we have fully developed pathways that our students can take, and they can actually pursue their passions. But one of the coolest things about it, like the National History Day, is it extends beyond the classroom. So when you talk about Occupational Olympics, at the end of every year, these classes get to compete. And now for the county, and we actually have 3 events that our school really takes the lead on. One area, next year we're taking over the criminal justice with Mr. Ball. We also do the portfolio review, and then also our robotics. Last year we got the small school awards. This year, Houston beat us out just a little bit, but we're going to get it back. So we don't hold grudges, but that award will be ours. And but it's just amazing to see the transformation that's happened at Orristimba over the last few years, and it has everything to do with teachers like Jovita and Hardy and many others, and our great students. So Mr. Reeves is going to explain to you some of the things that happened at Occupational Olympics. One of the other things is for the computer science department and most of the ag department, we've also all gone through and made our classes UC A through G approved as well. So the students aren't just taking an elective just for an elective, they're actually be able to use it for the G section for electives.
believe it's my Photoshop web design class is actually UCA through G for fine arts, or it's my multimedia productions, one of the two, and we have a couple other ones that we're working on to get into math as well and some other areas that they can take them.
Yeah.
Okay, every single one of the courses up there is UCA through G approved. We've been working hard to make sure that happens. That's one of our goals. EJ, or Eric, as this is Eric. He's one of my robotic kids, and this year their challenge was to play soccer with robots, and they went up against about 15 different schools, it seemed like, or 15 different groups, and we did double elimination, and it got down to him and the team from one of the other schools.
Very cool with robots.
Yeah, it was Central Valley or something like that, where their goal is, that's all they do all year is robotics. For a robotics competition, we don't do the normal, the VEX competition robots. They have like all these different things that go throughout the state, and 3 schools start right now planning for next year. And so for years, that's what the robotics competition was at Occupation Olympics, was just whatever the competition was. For the VEX robotics is another practice event for them, and those of us that didn't have teams and the money to do giant teams like that would just walk in and be like, oh, okay, hi, we're here, and try and compete against these ones that have been practicing for over a year. When we took over, we decided, hey, let's have a little fun with this, and it really freaked out some people when we came in with our first event that wasn't VEX. And so when they were playing soccer this year, they seem to have a lot of fun. One of the good things about that is they start watching what the other teams come up with. And then my kids always bring their extra parts and like ransack the back room with everything they possibly can think of, because they know they're going to change their design. Sometimes on the bus ride over, your cameraman in the back will do that to me and get a design okayed, and the next thing I know, I'm like, that's not what was last night. I changed it this morning. Thank you. But EJ's group, they came in second. It was him and Dawson Hernandez. They came in second for that. Our other winner this year was Ryan Solano. He is helping set up for prom right now, and he won in the third place for portfolio review. So it's a lot of fun. The kids do miss school for a day, but they're out there competing against other students and actually putting their knowledge to the test, a lot of it. We had our welding team go, and they actually get on a bus and go to NJC, and they have to go show everything that they've learned all year on how to actually weld correctly. Our criminal justice kids take a test and show some stuff they've learned. Our intro to business communication, our intro to business applications class goes in and tries and shows them how they do all their typing and everything else like that, setting up spreadsheets on the test-based system. We have Ag Engine, we have robotics job seeking skills. They actually go in and do interviews. So our FFA kids and some of our other students went in and had to learn how to present themselves properly, be able to speak, answer questions, make sure. And a lot of our seniors, it was our practice senior interview. Worked out really well. And then we also had salad prep. And with the salad prep, they don't just make a salad and just go with it. They have to come up with an entire theme. So it's not just, oh, here's my salad, yay. They had to come up with their own centerpieces. They had to come up with their own plates, and have everything mixed together, kind of like a design piece as well with it. So we ended up taking 56 students and competing in 8 events this year. Our goal is always, I believe, in the budget, because we always budget for 100, and Carolyn always tells me, if you get over 100, we'll find the money, get 100, because we never want to have a student not be able to go to one of these competitions. My goal is next year to get 100 of those students and have to call Carolyn and be like, I need more money. Because I do want to get as many of them over there as we can. So that's our goal. And the sheets that I gave you, the CTE departments actually pass these out at Back to School Night or Warrior Showcase, whichever you know it as. And it's kind of what we're kind of moving towards, getting the kids to see our classes aren't just a class. They're on a pathway to a job somewhere. And take these classes, you get an idea of where you can go. And we're working towards actually putting together an entire handout booklet that covers not just CTE, but also all the UC A through Gs, so that the kids walk in freshman year and able to go, I want to do this, what do I need to do? And that's what they follow through for their 4 years at Simba. So, questions, comments, concerns? EJ, I'll drive this robot around and freak you out a little bit. This is not the flamethrower one. That one's only for Warrior Showcase and outside. He does have his license. I will say that. They actually have their competition in my class right now. They had to come up with their own competition for the other kids in the class, and his is they have to move a chair across the room a certain amount of feet with their robots. So, but before they can actually have it for everybody else to do, they have to demonstrate that it's possible and they can do it. So.
One of the things that our teachers do is think out of the box. Yeah. And it makes, I think, the transition into adulthood and jobs so much easier instead of just opening a book and looking at page 139. So, and that takes a lot more. I mean, I can't do my iPhone, so I know I couldn't do it. It's really good. Any other questions? No?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a special recognition.
Well, we want to recognize Alexandra Ubakova for being our student board member, but I think before we do that, you probably have some announcements, don't you? Oh, yeah. Why don't you do those first, okay?
Please do.
So basically at the high school, we recently had the every 15 minutes, and that was a really great experience. Personally, I wasn't part of it, but a lot of my friends were a part of it, and they told me that when everything happened, they didn't have a script. It was just completely... they completely just went with it, and they did so good. It was amazing, and I know that for a fact. It really changed perspective of a lot of the other students. It was very emotional. So many people were crying, and I think that it was a really great experience. Another thing going on is this weekend is prom, and next weekend we have the 3-day senior trip where we're going to be going to Universal Studios and Disneyland, and then graduation. That's pretty much it.
Great. So Alexandra's been our student rep all year. It's been great having you on the board. You participate in everything that we're doing and have given us a lot of updates on kind of what's happening. And I just also want to say that, Alexandra's also, she's been so involved in OHS for 4 years. It's kind of sad to see you go, but excited about you going to Berkeley, right? And one of the things that she was always involved with was kind of is almost like a political activist as well. And I know you were a big part of the 17 minutes that were in tribute to the Parkland deaths. We appreciate all the work you've done in the district and also here on the student board. So we have a gift for you from the board and from the district, and so you have to open it in front of everybody.
Recognition of Newman-Crows Landing Unified School District retirees.
Well, I'm going to ask Mrs. Betancourt to come up. We have several retirees this year that we always want to honor, and Mr. Reeves is absolutely correct, and also Mr. Pruitt. We just have great staff. Mary Vasquez retired, Patricia Hollister, Cheryl Cross, Janice Linares, and Serena Jenkins and Lisa Barkman. Because of scheduling and whatnot, we only have 2 here, but they're 2 really great employees. and Kim is going to talk a little. We're going to I promise, a little.
Good evening again. I'm going to first talk about Mrs. Barkman, about Lisa Barkman. I started at Von Ritter in 1984, and I think I was just asking her, she started in 1987. I just can't remember a time when Lisa was an employee in the district, wasn't an employee in the district. She started out in 2nd grade and then went to kindergarten at Von Ritter and then eventually TK. So her last few years have been in TK. She taught at Von Ritter, and then when we up in Hunt. She moved over to Hunt, where Serena and I actually moved at the same time too. And in all her years of teaching, she's been excited about instruction. She's been great with students, a great collaborator, a great peer, fun to work with, great working with principals and other team members. It's going to be hard to imagine our district without both of these ladies. I'm going to miss both of them. I appreciate what she's done for the district as a fellow teacher and now as an administrator. I know the families of Newman appreciate what she's done for the district also, and it's my privilege to congratulate her on her retirement, but also with a little bit of sadness to see Lisa go. So Lisa Brookman.
I hope we got this right. 31 years of service. 30. Well, we gave you an extra year. Sorry. What this says actually is for Lisa is it says, in appreciation for your lifelong dedication to education, for believing in students, for guiding through example, for inspiring with passion, for living through loving, for leaving an indelible mark in the future, for touching the human soul, you've made all the difference. Congratulations. Thank you.
For Serena, I started actually teaching with her in 1984 at Von Renner, and it was kind of the same journey. We started at Von Renner, we taught first grade together, we moved over to Hunt, and we actually moved over to Hunt so they wouldn't separate us. The superintendent at the time said, one of you is going, or both of you can go together, and we said, well, we'll go together. So we went over to Hunt because we didn't want to be separated. Serena inspired me as a first grade teacher. She helped me. She's inspired hundreds of students, just like Lisa has. She's artistic. She's creative. She's wonderful with her kids. She has birds in her classroom that I've never seen birds in the classroom, but she pulls it off. The kids don't even pay attention to those birds in the classroom. She's been a great team member, a great collaborator again, also impacted so many students in the district and so many families. And she's actually one of my best friends in the world, and will always be one of my best friends in the world. I can't imagine my life without her in general, and I can't imagine, again, our district without her, but I'm very excited about her new life and the next phase for her, and so, again, it's my privilege to congratulate her on her retirement.
For 36 years.
37.
We got to talk to the HR department.
How many pictures I have across the wall?
Well, this says basically the same. We're not very creative, right? This says the same thing. But we do appreciate all your dedication to education, to the lives of our children and stuff in this community. I know everybody's going to miss you. I'm going to miss you as well and stuff. Congratulations.
They're my teachers. I need to hug you.
Thank you for all your hard work.
Yes.
Okay. Now, we have a strategic action plan update.
Yeah, we can kind of maybe have the lights dim a little bit so we can just kind of see this a little bit. We review the strategic action plan, not at every meeting, but quite often. And we started one in 2015. It went to 2018, so it's almost kind of played out. And it's always time to kind of redo it. And a lot of the goals that have been set by the state have changed. How we're measured is changed a little bit. And so as a result of basically what we've been doing in the district, feedback we got from staff, and then also a board workshop that we did about a month ago, we kind of came up with this action plan, which is all on one page, and And so what it says is, under the vision, that all learners graduate college and career ready, embracing the joy of lifelong learning, all are prepared to be responsible global citizens and leaders. I think tonight you're seeing some of the emphasis on not only college, but especially career readiness. The mission is through strong relationships, design and orchestration of relevant and rigorous experience and inspire and empower all learners. And if you're not getting the sense that we're adding a lot of curriculum in the area of career and fun experiences, but rigorous experience that is relevant to kids, I'm not sure exactly where you were tonight, but that was what we were kind of talking about in Mr. Reeves and Mr. Pruitt. We talk about values that we have, but more importantly, we also kind of talk also about basically the metrics of how we're going to kind of determine things. We've embraced what we call rigor, relevance, and relationships. Basically, you need to start with relationships before you can get to relevance and rigor, but we have some metrics that we can use to determine how we're doing in those. And so relationships, basically, some of the metrics are chronic absenteeism, meaning are we reducing the amount of students that are gone for more than 10% of the school year? Is our suspension rates going down? Is there parent engagement? Williams Act is basically making sure that we have facilities that are up to grade, and also that we have books or materials for everybody. Surveys are surveys that we do in the community with students, parents, and teachers every year, and what we want to focus also on getting more student voice involved in the relationship. In the area of relevance, you see tonight some of the emphasis on career tech ed. That is a big driving force, and also something that's being monitored by the state. Soft skills basically kind of speak to basically the skills that employers want, and those of you who have done our senior interviews, I think you can see that we've been working on it a lot, and we have some good work in that area. Technology, we're constantly improving on, not just from what we're providing technology, but how students can demonstrate their learning through technology. What we want to add is some apprenticeships and internships. You heard about the certification Microsoft. We have a student that actually is getting national recognition, but we want to have an opportunity for every kid to be involved in an apprenticeship or internship at some point. And community service has been at the high school, has been something that we have as a graduation requirement. We'd like to see it continue to improve on that, make it throughout the TK-12 environment. In terms of rigor, tonight you saw the results of actually English learner progress, a redesignation of some of our elementary students. Last meeting it was our secondary kids. Our graduation rate, it's hard to improve on 100% that we've had for the last 3 years, but we want to keep it up in that area. The ELA SBAC and Math SBAC are reference basically our state testing in language arts and math. A through G completion rate is something we're continuing to work on. You heard it referenced in terms of these electives that we have that are all A through G. It's important that students have at least a C in each one of their A through G classes that qualify for them to go to a UC or state college. And we want to make sure that we have more and more kids of that. We've gone up from probably a low of about 30% of our kids to in the neighborhood a little over 40%, and we won't be satisfied until all of our graduates actually have an A G completion rate that's positive. We actually been starting to do PSATs and SATs on site, and that's another kind of metric for determining basically success in academics. And we also monitor advanced placement, not only enrollment, but passing with a 3 or above to qualify for credit in college. And of course also we've already honored our kids this year that qualify for the seal of multilingual proficiency. That's basically being proficient in both English and another language. So we'll continue to work with that as well. The thing that's a little bit confusing sometimes about an action plan like this is we use there's a lot of educational leads that is used, a lot of terms sometimes that get confusing. So what we've added is, and I don't know if you can pull up the next document, is we've added a glossary of terms, if you will. And so this is all a work in progress, so is this strategic action plan. But the glossary of terms kind of explains what does it mean basically that all learners. All learners literally mean all learners terms all the time. So without going through all these, there's some definitions of a lot of the terms that are in this glossary, because we think it's important that it not just be a document that basically stands alone on one page, but people really understand what the meaning is behind it and explain what the metrics are and where we're going with this. So this is actually a living document right now. We'll come back to the board the next few meetings and probably in August. So hopefully we'll be ready for approving it. It will be posted on the website for not only community, but of course our teachers and students to comment on, to ask questions, clarifying questions on maybe what needs to be improved in the glossary. But I think it's something that is really reflective of the vision where we're going as a district.
Any comments? One of the things I think having the glossary helps all of us be on the same page so that we know what we're talking about when we're together. Mr. Klein, attendance awards, please.
President Conforti, members of the Board of Trustees, Superintendent Philpott. The winner for staff attendance goes to Yolo Middle School.
Thank you.
For best student attendance, it goes to Bonita Elementary.
All right.
And for least chronic, it goes to Bonita Elementary as well. Thank you.
We have lots of board homework where we have first readings, and if you need to look at it, you may look at it on the agenda. Okay. Consent calendar. The consent calendar items are routine in nature and usually do not require board discussion. Individual items may be removed by the board members and presented for discussion in separate action. The consent calendar will be adopted by a roll call vote. Motion?
I make a motion that we accept the consent calendar.
A second?
I'll second that.
Mr. Wallace?
Aye.
Mr. Snodderly?
Aye.
Mrs. Hurst? Aye. Mr. Bazar?
Aye.
Mrs. Conforti votes aye. 5-0, passed. Approved resolution.
Board President, before you may I just interrupt for a second?
Yes.
Part of what you approved were some employees that we just hired, and just so happens in our audience today is Ryan Smith, who is our new director of HR, and he just promised me that he won't make a mistake on the years of service next year. Yeah, sometimes it can, we just borrow from one person, move it to the other. It's no big deal, really. Yeah, they asked about Sturs, yeah. Also here tonight with him is his wife, Brenda Smith, and I also just want to congratulate her also because she is actually going to be effective July 1, right? The superintendent in Houston.
Okay.
And I see you got the memo about purple.
Oh, yeah.
I just needed a reason.
Yes.
And we'll check your socks. Thank you. Approved resolution number 17-18/26, community eligibility provision. Okay. Mr. Wallace? Oh, I need a motion, sorry.
I make a motion that we approve resolution 17-18/26.
A second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mr.
Then I'll vote aye.
Mr. Snodderly?
Aye.
Mrs. Hurst?
Aye.
Mr. Bazar?
Aye.
Mrs. Conforti, passes 5-0. Approved declaration of need for fully qualified educators, 2018-2019. A motion?
Boy, I make a motion that we approve declaration of need for fully qualified educators 2018-19 to join our fully qualified.
Ours are always that way. Second, please?
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. Bazar?
Aye.
Mrs. Hurst?
Aye.
Mr. Snodderly?
Aye.
Mr. Wallace?
Aye.
And Mrs. Conforti votes aye, 5-0. Approved tentative agreement between Newman Newman-Crows Landing Unified School District and CSEA Chapter Number 551 for the 2019 school year. A motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Okay. I don't write that fast. Mr. Bazar?
Aye.
Mrs. Hurst? Aye. Mr. Snodderly?
Aye.
Mr. Wallace?
Aye.
And Mrs. Conforti votes aye, 5-0. Future agenda items. We have an LCAP public hearing. Have we set a date for that, Mr.?
That will be at the next meeting.
Next meeting?
Yeah.
Okay. And the budget public hearing, same thing? Okay. And Mr. Philpott, your report?
Well, I'm going to use my report because we have a lot of things coming up. I think everybody's aware of, obviously, with the Tosca Awards on Wednesday, and then about 3 weeks we have Alt-Ed graduation, YOLO promotion, and the high school graduation. But I really want to spend tonight actually talking about something that some people don't really notice probably here, because quietly in the back of the room, at every board meeting for this year has been Gabriel Munoz behind the camera over there and stuff. And then what has been great is that we've always kind of had a delay in the past with getting things posted. This is getting posted to our website very quickly. Sometimes we're having problems with our own sound system, not what he's doing or anything. But Mr. Reeves, if you don't mind handling the camera, if I Gabriel, could you come up for a minute, please? We'd like to honor you. And we have a swag bag here for you of all kinds of things for, so don't forget about it. So not that you're probably going to be not coming back, right, occasionally. You're going to the California Art, is that right?
The Art Institute in California.
In San Francisco, right?
Yes.
To do filming.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mr. Philpott, your old
I spent everything I gave
Mr. Snodderly.
Hey, you guys did good. I'm always amazed at whatever shows up here, robots, charts and all that. The staff in the school has done so well this year. It's like I'm always amazed. My peers, I'm a retired superintendent, so I still have contact with all those buddies. I talk to them, and I kind of, I have to be quiet because you do so much better than a lot of our neighbors. So I go, oh, that's really nice that you got like 4 kids English proficient. Thank you, you did good.
Thank you. Mr. Bazar?
Well, I think it's been another great year, and I think we should all be proud of the accomplishments of all the kids in our district. I'm looking forward to the graduations. I think we have some things that will even go on beyond that. I'm thinking of FFA. I know the fair's coming up, and I know a lot of kids are raising animals, practicing for various things that they're going to do there at the fair, so we still have that for the summer. We had a lot of success on the athletic field this year. Alex, still,
she had to go.
Okay, well, Alex is just one of a number of kids that are going to be introduced at graduation who've been very successful academically and are going on to the UCs and various other schools, and we'll all be impressed when we hear it in 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. It is. Anyway, another good year.
Mrs. Hurst?
Okay. First of all, Ms. Rubicon spoke to every 15 minutes. I have to speak to it again because this is my second one. And it doesn't matter that it is a simulation. I was crying. And at the memorial, I was flanking my firefighter husband with another firefighter's wife, and he was busy handing us Kleenexes because we were bawling at the memorial, okay? And I have to admit that Mr. Powell, when he did his stare at the bleachers, I told him that was a crowning moment, okay? He was great.
YOLO, I'm going to say that for a moment. Just want to put a shout out there again for Safe Sitter Babysitting Clinic, June the 6th, or June the 2nd at the fire station. There's information that's going around the schools. Student recognitions, I'm always so proud of our students. I'm so proud of our teachers. I just cannot tell you how much. I'm looking forward to Tosca. I'm looking forward to the FFA banquet, graduations, end of the year. And I participated with Mr. Klein for the YOLO Career Fair and mock interviews. And I have to do this, okay? Jackson, would you please stand up? Jackson is going to be a future politician and one that we will all want to vote for. He showed up in a suit and a tie, and we were so duly impressed. However, we were duly impressed with all the youngsters that came through, and we're so happy that that event occurred. So thank you, Jackson. Mr. Wallace?
This coming weekend will be the Delegates Assembly for California School Boards Association. We will be talking about school safety. We will be talking about marijuana, which is becoming a very popular topic in these groups that I move through. I think I saw fairly clearly that the movement to legalization was not about getting rid of fighting marijuana as a drug. It was about getting it out of law enforcement and getting it back to education and medical, which can probably be a whole lot more effective than law enforcement can. And so I think that we're going to be seeing that. We'll be talking about that at CSBA. It sounds like our fall trustees dinner will probably be a presentation on marijuana and, you know, how to deal with the fact that, yeah, it might be legal, but it's still going to rot your brain into a pile of mush. And those are different conversations. You know, it used to be you can't do it because you'll get a ticket. Now you just can't do it because, you know, you won't be as smart as you were the day before. So that would be one of the things. And the other one that we'll be talking about is there's a case in front of the Supreme Court called Janus. I can't remember Janus versus who. Janus is a person. I didn't do it. Janis.
O-A-S. Oh, that's the financial institution.
So it's the same as the financial institution. This is an individual who is suing his union, arguing that he should not have to pay for the union representing him when he disagrees with how they represent him. It could be huge, and it'll be something that our unions will need to weigh in on and let us know. What it says is that you can no longer collect, as it is right now, everybody gets represented by the contract. Everybody will still be represented by the contract, but only union members pay into the workings of the union to negotiate that contract. Who knows what the Supreme Court will do? It's a considerably more conservative Supreme Court than when it tied after the death of Justice Scalia last time, and that's why a new case came up. They've added a conservative justice. Chances are that Janus will be found in favor of, and that will put a hinge on the unions. And so we're really looking at how that's going to affect our school districts, because it will change how we negotiate, will change what the unions ask us to include in their work rules and things like that as they relate to these things. So that's one of our big topics that we're hitting.
Thank you. The other thing, I'm just so proud of our students, not just because you get numbers and good grades, but because you think out of the box. You're not children, you're young adults, and you're leading this country very soon, sooner than what you think. And I'm just proud that Newman is giving you some of those skills that sometimes I didn't get those when I was in school. So thank you. And you need to pat yourself on the back, all of you, because you do a fine job. Stand up for yourselves, because when we give out these awards, stand up proud. You deserve it. And even if you don't make number one, you still deserve it. You don't have to be first to be the best. Okay, so thank you, and I think our district's the best anyhow. Okay, thank you very much, and have a very good month. Have a good graduation, and summer vacation is almost here. Enjoy. Thank you. Oh, yeah. Second? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Adjourn.